Sessions is a replacement for Zoom. If you use Zoom for any kind of meetings or webinars, I definitely have something for you to take a look at. Sessions is a meeting tool. Whether you're doing meetings or webinars or breakout rooms, events, or that kind of stuff, Zoom can be very expensive. I'm going to show you the pricing right here. I'm going to go through the features, the benefits, the setup, the savings of this tool, this other tool called Sessions. So it gets confusing because the name of it is Sessions. So we're talking about meeting sessions or webinar sessions. It gets confusing because most of you are familiar with Zoom. I think it's going to be easier if I start out with Zoom itself and give you a context, and then I'll go in and talk about Sessions and how you can get a hold of it for a one-time fee that is super inexpensive. And it's what I got. I'll show you exactly what I got. And normally I would have waited. I would have waited probably another month or two and played more with Sessions to give you my review of it. But because it has a great deal and it's a Black Friday deal, so it only has 3 or 4 more days left, I wanted to come out and show it to you now, just in case it's something that you wanted to go ahead and check out. Let's just take a look at Zoom real quick. So right now I pay about, I want to say $150 a year for Zoom, which is great, right? That's not that expensive. And it's for meetings. Okay. But if you go through the Zoom pricing, it has a whole bunch of add-ons and it gets very confusing if you want to add some other stuff in here. And what happens for me is that I need webinars every now and then, maybe every other month. It varies. I need to do a webinar and I haven't wanted to add webinars. And here's why. If you click on Zoom webinars, look at what we're talking about. You're adding another 690, 3,490, 4,990 to add webinars and events. Like if you want to do an all day sort of thing, if you want to do that, then it gets you into a whole other tier. And the reason is because Zoom is really made for corporations. It's made for big corporations where they're doing these kinds of things on a regular basis, where that amount of money isn't going to make that much difference. It's not made for us solopreneurs. Every time I've done a webinar, I've just paid one off, which for me ends up being, each time I want to add one, it's about $85. So far this year, in the last half of the year, actually, I've spent another $350 about adding webinars on. And it bothers me that each time I have to do this. Even though at the time it's worth it, it's still, I've been looking for a solution. So that's where Sessions comes in. And I put a link in the chat, which will take you to this Appsumo. Appsumo is it's like a warehouse. It's like an Amazon for software. All it has is software and software deals. And I've gotten some really good things on here and I've gotten some really not so good things in here. So you do have to be careful, but Appsumo is very upstanding. I mean, they have like refunds. They will refund you like that if you don't like what you got. So that's a really good thing. But this is the software that I'm talking about. It's called, like I said, Sessions. It's a meeting tool. It's a webinar tool. And you can see right here, they have a lifetime deal where you can get this for $69. $69, and you have it for lifetime. Now, there's a few little things here. So I want to go over this. And like I said, I have my Sessions app open right here. And I'm going to go through and I'm going to show you exactly what it looks like when you set up a meeting or a webinar. They use a little bit different terminology. And it has some really cool features that Zoom does not have at all. So you can read through this whole thing right here. If you do any kind of meeting, if you do discovery calls, if you do any kind of events or anything like that, any virtual stuff, this is going to satisfy that need. And it is GDPR compliant. It is not HIPAA compliant as of yet. I don't even know if that's in their future plans or anything like that. But to be clear, if you're doing educational events or you're doing discovery calls, you don't need something that's HIPAA compliant, right? They're not a patient of yours if you're doing a discovery call or 15-minute free call or that kind of stuff when they come into your world. There's a video here that gives some of the details of what's going on in the actual deal itself. It has a booking calendar, which is really nice. You can just give someone your calendar and they can book into the meeting, the virtual meeting right there. Very nice. Which if you do that in Zoom, it's an add-on. So these are all the different details of this deal. It's lifetime access And then if you want to upgrade to some of the other plans, you can do that as long as those plans are available. So that's the only little caveat there. Video conferencing. And then this is where you want to get into some of the details. So cloud recording, which is great. Cloud recording is important because if you don't want to download the file and then upload the file onto a web page and then send somebody the URL for the web page, this then eliminates that whole need. And if you recall, it was a month or two ago, I did this video right here, no skills editing, where I was talking about Descript. But what I was really doing was answering the question of how do you do a webinar, an on-demand webinar. And I went through how you have to have the file and you upload that to a page. And then Descript was the tool that I recommended for doing the actual recording. This actually eliminates the need to have that separate web page and learn how to embed onto a separate web page and then send that out. So you can have the cloud recording link. So that's a big deal. And as I'll show you in here, you get unlimited cloud storage. So with Zoom, it's an add-on if you want to store things for a certain period of time. And then the more storage you need, the more you have to pay with Zoom. So here it's unlimited. It's included in there. You can embed files and resources. And actually, you can have registration pages and branded pages to show your videos. So that's really great. So this is the difference in the different licenses and what it involves. So this is the $69 deal, which I think is a great deal. And if you don't do a lot of webinars or things like that, this is going to be perfect for you. So you can have unlimited sessions. Now, when they say sessions, they're actually referring to meetings. So think of meetings as sessions, not webinars. So meetings with, you know what, this could be meetings with your family. Like this would have been great to have yesterday, right? Everybody's doing FaceTime. You can send out a link to your family and everybody can hop on and you can see there's a lot of really fun things in here that it's not corporate, right? There's a lot of fun ways to interact and play. You can have 15 team members. So that's teams. So that's like hosts and co-hosts that you have in there. 45 participants per session. If you need more, that's where you're going to want to bump up to the second tier here. So this is where you can do some comparisons. 3 hours per session. That's usually plenty of time. Most sessions are an hour and a half at the most. But if you needed them to be longer, I think Zoom meeting gives you 40 minutes on the free plan. 90 days in memory. This is where it's unlimited. So I misspoke before. This plan, you do have a limited time for the memory, but here it's unlimited. Analytics, you get APIs, you can integrate other things in there. You get 3 events. So now this is where, again, the translation and terminology is a little bit different. So an event here is a webinar. All right. And the difference is because in a webinar, you have them register for the webinar. You have a time that it's set up. I'll show you how you create an agenda for the webinar if you want to do that. And you have the registration, and then you also have automatic reminders that you can send out. So it's a whole bunch of other little pieces to a webinar that aren't necessarily in a session or in a meeting, although you can have scheduled meetings and things like that. You also have this fun little tool called AI Copilot. I'm going to show you how that works too. It's a fun little thing that can help you put things together inside sessions, what I have there. And part of it was because I needed the webinars. This is where I was paying $85 per webinar, right? I told you I already spent $350 this year doing webinars, paying extra. That's on top of the $150 a year that I spent for Zoom. So here, this is a no-brainer for me for what I need and how I'm using it. Now, if I needed more than 3 webinars a month, which I don't, but if I did, then I could upgrade to this plan, which is 6 events per month. And then this also has webhooks. And to be honest, this probably is more important to me than the number of webinars, because a webhook will allow me to integrate my email autoresponder so that anybody who registers for a webinar automatically goes into my email sequence. And the importance there is being able to follow up. Now, you can follow up with their reminder system and that kind of stuff, but it doesn't get you into a GDPR compliant email system. And so I may upgrade to this one at some point because of the value of the webhooks. And then if you need even more stuff, there are other different licenses that include everything. So if I go up to the highest one, it's $849 and everything's basically unlimited, 50 events per month. This is all these different integrations, white labeling. So most people don't need this, but even if you were a corporation and needed a lot of the stuff that you're getting in Zoom, this is still a much better price because, again, it's one time. Whereas the Zoom prices, I will just remind you, this is per year that you're paying. So it's ongoing, or you can pay by month also on a lot of these things. And then Zoom, then look at the add-ons. You have all these other add-ons. I find it very confusing, to be honest with you, all these other little pieces that you can add on, more cloud storage, hub host. I just find it confusing. So this to me is very simple. Let me go in and show you exactly what is Sessions. I'm already logged in. There is a note here, which is we just released a new version, and here are the release notes. Now, I don't have to go through release notes, but what I always look at is how often are they updating and how recently have they done an update. There was one this morning, the 24th, and I'm not going to go through all these, but I wanted to see how often, the 20th and the 14th, and the 10th. So they are actively upgrading and changing and listening to people. And if you go into this App Sumo session or area, you'll see that there are a whole bunch of reviews and things like that. Okay, so there are 3 different ways to start. Actually, there are 4, because you can have your own, I'm just going to start here, your own room. So can have my own link that I could I can get a pretty URL to that. So I could get lisasmeetingroom.com. And then I have my own link all the time that I can just send out to anybody and say, let's hop on a call. So that's very convenient. And in Zoom, you have to pay extra for that. I could also just start a session right away. So I could just click here and it's going to, I have a link, copy a link. So it's going to give me this. Let me see if I can change this I'm going to turn off my camera. Let's see if that works. That way you don't get that kind of kaleidoscope thing going on that can be really annoying. But I could just start a link. I could start a session right now. I copy the link, send it out to anybody if they wanted to join me. So that's one way to do it. I could also come back home here, schedule a session. So if I knew there was a time that I wanted to meet with somebody and I wanted it to be recurring, this is the same thing you do in Zoom. So this is the same exact sort of setup as you would do with Zoom. You can also invite participants straight from here. You can add an agenda. I'm going to show you how you can create an agenda, or you can use one that you've already created. So I have an agenda in here that's an example. I'm going to go through with you guys in a minute and show you how cool this is. And then you have all the access settings, participant permissions, different kinds of automations that you want. If you want to send out the recording right away, then the link will go to them. Different widgets that can show up within the session. I'm going to show you what those are. And then whether you want it to be recorded, and then what kind of view, if you want like with all the people on there, or if you want to change it to spotlight when just one person is talking, it just shows them. Or if you want the audience kind of showed above, like in like gallery view, but above, and then the spotlight below. And then on the exit page, if you want to ask for feedback or a final call to action to go to another page. So you have a lot of different options in here. And then the main thing is like being able to create an event, which is your webinar. So if I wanted to create an event, acupuncture for back pain, maybe I'm doing a talk for a group and it's going to be this date, and I'm going to create the event. And then this is where it gets fun. So you set up the time, email reminders. You can have as many as you want. Maybe I want one to go out like 15 minutes before the event. So that's nice. This is automated. This is the same thing that you can do in Zoom. You can add different speakers if you need to bring in other hosts. And then if you want to add an agenda. So let's say we want to add an agenda. Now I can do one that I already have, or I can make one up. And if I do new agenda here, I want to show you this. This is this thing called AI Copilot, which I have because I got that second tier. So if I show you, so here's tier 1, right? It shows you what I have. I have the Appsumo tier 2. Here's tier 1, and then here's tier 2. So I paid $129, and I have this AI Copilot. And so let me go back to where I was in agendas. So I'm going to add a new agenda, and I'm going to use this AI Copilot. So it asks me, what kind of agenda do you want? I'm going to tell it, I want to do a 30-minute presentation to potential new clients on how acupuncture can help relieve their back pain. And I want it to generate an agenda for me. So you can see how fast it's coming up with an agenda. Let's see what happened here. Okay. So introduction, welcome to the potential new clients, and provide a brief introduction about the benefits of acupuncture in relieving back pain. Okay, that makes sense. Understanding back pain. Number 2, discuss the causes and types of back pain, emphasizing the common issues faced by potential clients. Acupuncture methodology, benefits of, case studies, benefits of acupuncture, and Q&A session. I think I would rather do case studies a little higher up here. So I can just take this and I can move it up here. So maybe I want to talk about the introduction about how acupuncture and back pain are related. And then I want to give them some ideas of how it helps. And then I want to talk about more specifically back pain and acupuncture and blah, blah, blah. So having that is really cool, so that when you are setting up an event and you want to add in the agenda, you can just choose from the agendas that you've created, or you can create an agenda on the fly. So it gives you everything that you could ever need. You can show these agendas when you are doing a webinar. And so people can see on the side of the screen the agenda, or you can turn it off and only you turn it off so participants can't see it, but just you can see it. So let me show you what that looks like. This is my example agenda. So this is as if I am the one running the webinar. Now, normally you wouldn't see my face here either. I'm going to just show it like this. The way I have this set up is, this is the greeting. This is just the hello. And everybody, this is gallery views. Everybody in here would be able to see themselves. This would be the Brady Bunch gallery view right here. So this would be hello. We're talking to each other. That's how I have it set up. Now, I could also change it to spotlight so that it's just me showing up here and it's not everybody else. You don't see this change right now because I don't have anybody else in here. But you can choose how this is set up in advance, or you can change it on the fly if you want to do that. Now, I can go to the next thing on my agenda and I can show, this is how you share documents. So I've already uploaded in here. It's not even an upload. I just have the link to a document. And this is the document that's actually in the live stream comment section. If you see, it has the sessions links. It has the links to Zoom so that you can compare the different pricing. It has a link to my YouTube channel because I showed you that video that I did on how to set up a webinar using Descript as your way to record and edit the video. And also, by the way, I can also move my video out of the way. I can have it there, or I can remove it. I have another area on the agenda, which is I could share a video. So this is the video. And this is pretty darn cool. So I can actually play this. All right. Hey, ABA, we are. So you can actually share a video right within your webinar. And this is good because in Zoom, if you want to share a video, it is not easy, especially to get the audio to play. There's this little button that you have to make sure you click. And if you don't find it, it really can mess you up. So this is super easy if you want to share a video. This is amazing. You can link directly to Canva. So if you make your slides in Canva, then you can link directly to here. And can you see, I'm just clicking this little button up here at the top, and I'm going through the different slides that I have. And if you've never seen these in Jeffrey's AccuDownloads, let me know. I will show you how you get a hold of them. They're awesome. So if you have a slideshow, you can go directly to the slide that you want to go to just by doing this little drop down, or you can arrow through the slides. I find this to be so easy. Here's another example. I have Canva more. The formatting of the slides is a little bit different. These are my different banners that I've had in ABA. I make them every month. I stopped doing that now, thankfully. Every quarter now I make a new one. So I just wanted to show you it links directly with Canva, and there are a whole bunch of other things that it links to, and they're adding all the time. Here is this web page. So you can put web pages in here. There's also something that's interactive here that I don't quite understand yet, and that is anybody on the call can also click within the same web page. And even the document, when you share a document, when I was back up here in Google Docs, there is a way that everybody on the call could actually come in here and start typing. You can start sharing a document. So this becomes really valuable if you're doing team meetings. And there's a whiteboard option in here too, where you can all work together. So I haven't quite figured that out yet. So that's another way that you can use this or apply it to your business. If you have meetings with your entire group, if you have associates, if you have staff, and you want to do weekly meetings or monthly meetings together, and you want to do some from home and virtually, this is a great way to put things together, have an agenda, have everybody contribute. And then at the last thing I have here is thoughts and takeaways. And there's a way that you can do poll questions and that kind of stuff in here, which brings me to, there's this menu down at the bottom, and you can control how much or how little shows up here that you can control. So for the camera, I turned the camera off so that you didn't have that kaleidoscoping thing going on here. I can come in here and I can pick which camera I want. So I have my eCam virtual camera going on here. You can choose your microphone, which one you want on, off, that kind of stuff. Actually, audio's over here. So you can choose which microphone. I have my eCam virtual microphone there. You can have background effects. You can blur your background. To be honest with you, these are not very good. Like the way these show up, and I'm sure it will improve, but I would not use these. You can upload your own custom image. But for right now, the way these are working, I would say this is probably like the one not great thing about this system. And I'm sure they will improve this. You can also control notifications, sessions. So I won't go through all these kinds of things right here. But you do have the ability to change that while you're on the fly in the call. I could also just do a traditional share my screen the way you would in Zoom. You share your screen, you pop out, that kind of stuff. But you can also share a file. So you can grab a file from anywhere: presentations, keynote, PDFs, documents, spreadsheets, pages, numbers, images, and videos. So you could just grab something off your desktop. Let me show you what else is here. You can do all these in advance, or you can do them right here on the fly. So you can open a link. So if there was another web page I wanted to show, I could just grab it right there. I could embed a tool. So this is where some of these embeds really are crazy. So Adobe Airtable, you can go and put in a whiteboard. You can do breakout rooms. So this is where you had to pay extra in Zoom in order to have breakout rooms. This will do these automatically. It's really great. So this is where the Canva integration is. And when I first started, this didn't work for me. And I waited a day or two, and now it works perfectly. So they are really improving this all the time. So you can see you can integrate docs, forms, sheets, slides. So it has the Google stuff, but it also has a lot of the Mac stuff too. Not that Google you can't use with the Mac, but it has PC and Mac stuff both in here. But you can also add YouTube, Vimeo, just a lot of different options in here. And then I think the last thing was you can also add a different agenda. Now, speaking of agendas, since I have this here, I just want you to know that you can see this agenda. And so your participants, you could allow them to see it, or you can hide it. So I could hide the agenda so nobody else sees it. Or you can let them see this so they know what's coming and where they are. You can also notice there's a little timer that's going right here. And so this can keep you on track. You can set these times ahead of time for each section, or you can just keep an eye on it knowing, okay, I know I've got 6 minutes per agenda item. And so you can keep you on track with what it is that you're doing. So I love that. This is where you can start the recording. So I'm not recording this. This is where you log out. You can also go full screen here. Now, this is like the Zoom stuff, right? So in Zoom, you have a normal chat. So here you've got a chat. So you've got private or you've got group. You also have Q&A. The Q&A works a little bit differently. It's really nice because you can keep track of what's been answered and what is still open, and you can direct your participants to use the Q&A for questions. You can also do polls, and this also is an AI Copilot kind of thing. So you could type in here and say, what is acupuncture used for? And we can ask it to generate a poll. And then pain relief, stress reduction. So you can use the poll, and then everybody can see this. So I can click start poll, and then it shows up on the screen. And everybody, that's not a great question, used most for or something. People can come in here and this is set up that they can only choose one, but you can also have it be multiple choice or that kind of, you have all the different things. And if I didn't like that poll, I could also edit it. I could add stuff to it, and then it'll show who voted, or you can have them be anonymous. So it's really cool. And you can set these up ahead of time, or you can set them up on the fly while you're actually in the call. There's also a place for notes, and these are things that just you see. So you can be adding notes during the actual call. You can also add takeaways in here and place them into your agenda. And then you can also have an AI generated transcript. So that is really useful. If you need to do a blog post or something like that, you can have the transcript right there. And these are all controllable in the settings. You can decide if you want all of those for your participants or just a few. Oh, yeah. So that was just practicing this agenda. That's all I've done right now is just show the agenda in here. And I'm not kidding. I just showed you a piece of this. So I'm going to log. I'll end this session and look at me. Can I do feedback? I can say, this is great. Great. Yay. And then submit feedback. That session was just a little practice thing, so it didn't record anything, so we won't see that. But I did just get an email right now telling me that session ended and a link if I wanted to look at it. So I don't know about you guys, but I know this was really fast, but I just wanted you to see how many different tools and options that you have with this, and also give you the chance to take advantage of this, because I think this is probably, from a tech nerdy point of view, this is one of the best deals that I've seen if you are doing any kind of meetings. And I want you to broaden your mind to what a meeting can be, because again, this could just be team meetings for your company, for the people in your group. It could be for your family. This doesn't have to be business even. This could just be family stuff that you're doing, anniversaries and parties, and a way to connect everybody. And certainly doing webinars. If you are doing any webinars ever, I think this is a much, much better choice than Zoom. And I think it's better because of the features, but also obviously the price. You just can't beat the price. And I think the features are going to get better. But the one thing that I said that this does not have, that Zoom has, which is why you're watching me right now on Zoom, is that you cannot live stream with this yet. And I've seen questions in there about live streaming, and the owner, developer of sessions has said it is in their lineup for getting it going. So I don't know when that's going to happen. So if you need a live stream tool and that's like your main thing, then this is not the right thing for you for right now. But I have no doubt that they will. I think the features and sessions outweighs all of the other kinds of negatives, if you call them that are in there. So let me know if you think this is something that might be useful to you. I see there are a couple comments here. Let me double check. Would love to get, Jeffrey Slides on acupuncture. Hey, he's incredible. If you're looking for Jeffrey Slides, I will add a link in there. He's got a great little deal that he has with me for ABA. So I'll post that in there. So you guys have a great rest of November. We're heading into our last week, and then we're into December, last month of the quarter and of the year. So hopefully you've got your goals going for you. And I want to read this quote real quick because I just got this morning and I thought this was really interesting. It says, "We don't rise to the level of our goals. We fall to the level of our systems." And that's from a book called Atomic Habits. And it's a lot of what I believe in the sense of getting systems and automations and things in place is where we struggle. But if we can get systems and automations and things in place, then achieving our goals is much easier, especially in business. So I'll leave you with that little note and wish you a great rest of your day. All right, you guys, take care.